everyone, it's Merc007 here. Thank you for joining my board game video. Today I'd like to take a look at Auctions of Alchemist, a new potion auctioning game which is getting an international launch. Please enjoy! Auctions of Alchemist is a 2 to 4 player auction and resource management game designed by indie designer Tanax from Japan. Tanax is a solo indie designer and self-publisher who has made wonderful indie games such as Dragon's Scary Go Round and more. Tanax has been developing Auctions of Alchemist for some time. I saw the first prototype about 3 years ago when Tanax was making lots of games, and recently he reached out and I got to try the new prototype, which has been a blast to play. This preview is based on the demo I got to try out on Tabletop Simulator. The images and components you see here may change in the final release. In Auctions of Alchemist, players need to bid on 4 types of liquid ingredients to fill their test tubes, then mix them into magical elixirs. You'll need to decide when to bid based on the 2 visible ingredients in the auction, but one of the ingredients' amount will be hidden. And you have to carefully manage your test tubes so you don't accidentally break them. Or if you get too greedy and overfill them, you need to give some of the excess ingredients to your neighbours. Let's take a look at how to play the game. In Auctions of Alchemist, you need to be the first player to create 6 elixirs to win. Each player is given 2 boards which show 4 test tubes. The bottom board is layered over the top board and will be moved up throughout the game. There are only 4 ingredients: red, blue, yellow and green. Each test tube can hold a limited amount of liquid. Players place 1 ingredient marker on each of the test tubes to start, and each player is given 25 gold. You can track the gold using pen and paper or use your own tokens. In this video, we're using the Tabletop Simulator counter to track the gold. In the common auction area, shuffle the test tube cards and shuffle the ingredients cards and place them both face down. Place the alchemy action card in the center of the table with the sun icon facing up. The alchemy card will be flipped throughout the game. Choose a starting player to begin the game. On a player's turn, they can only do one of these actions: either hold an auction or perform an alchemy action. To hold an auction, draw 2 ingredient cards, placing them face up for all to see. Then draw 2 test tube cards without revealing them. Look at both of them and place one of them face up next to an ingredient and the other one face down. Then, starting with the player on the left, players take turns bidding a higher bid or passing. The last remaining player who made the highest bid pays their bid in gold and reveals a face-down test tube card and gains both of the ingredients on their player board. It is also possible for every single player to pass on the bidding, and then the auction is over. But players need to watch out. If the broken test tube card is revealed, the player resets their counter for that ingredient to the lowest increment. If the number 1 test tube card was revealed, the player receives 1 increment in that color from the player on the left, and the player on the left loses 1 increment if they have it. If the player overfills their test tube, the player must choose to either pay 3 gold to dispose of each increment, or they can pass it to the others. When passing excess ingredients to others, the player on the left gets the option to take 1 increment first, and the next player gets to take an increment, and so on. If there are any increments left over from this excess, which no one wants, it's then discarded. They can use this in any combination, either paying part of the disposal and passing the rest. When the draw deck only has 2 cards remaining, shuffle the discard pile and the remaining cards to form 2 new decks. Or the player can choose to perform an alchemy action. Players can choose one of the 3 actions listed on the alchemy action card. To transmute gold, players receive the number of gold corresponding to how many elixirs they've already created in the past. To convert ingredients, players pay the ingredient amount on the left and gain what is written on the right. They can do this with the same ingredient more than once. During the sun stage, for this particular card, you can't receive yellow or blue ingredients when you convert. To create an elixir by combining ingredients, players pay one of each ingredient to mix one elixir. Players can make more than one elixir in that action. Each elixir that you make, you will receive the money listed on the playboard. But one interesting thing that happens in this mysterious world is whenever you perform an alchemy action, the day turns into night and you have to flip the alchemy action card over, which reveals a new conversion rate. And night turns back to day when someone performs the next alchemy action. Finally, when the players finish their turn, the turn passes to the next player. Whomever creates the 6 elixirs the fastest is the winner. Let's watch a little playthrough. The game starts and it's yellow player's turn. They reveal 2 ingredients, which are blue and yellow. They draw the 2 test tube cards to check the increments available. They see the test tubes with 3 increments and 1 broken test tube. So they think about which one to hide, and they decide to hide the broken test tube. Since most people try to go for blue during the daytime, they place it face down on blue. The auction begins with red. Red bids 4, blue passes, and eventually green wins on a bid of 7. They pay 7 gold, reveal the hidden test tube, which is, surprise, a broken test tube. But luckily it's early on in the game, so it's still safe. But they spent 7 gold to only get 3 yellow. The played cards are then put into the discard pile. Next it's Red's turn, who does an auction. Then it gets to Blue's turn, who also does an auction. They reveal the blue and green ingredient. The player checks the 2 test tubes, places a 2 on green and a mystery on blue. Green bids 3, red and then blue bids, green bids, and eventually all pass and yellow wins with a bid of 8. And surprise! The blue ingredient has 5 increments. Yellow lucked out and receives 5 increments of blue and 2 increments of green. As the game progresses, green is running low on gold. They decide to use the alchemy action and transmute some gold. Since they have 0 elixirs created, they get 6 gold. And they also need to flip the alchemy card over for using an alchemy action. Later in the game, yellow decides it's time to combine and create elixirs. That way they can get some gold and get closer to their goal. In one turn, they create the first elixir and got 6 gold, and created the second elixir and got 5 gold. Since there are only 2 remaining cards in the deck, the discard pile and the remaining 2 cards are shuffled to form a new draw deck, and the game proceeds. Eventually it gets back to Yellow's turn, and on their turn they do the final elixir combining action to create their 6th elixir, allowing them to win the game. This is such a fun auctioning game. I really enjoy the hidden element, and there's a little risk of the broken test tubes or overfilling your test tubes, and as well as some interesting timing dilemma. During the day, some of the ingredients are just not available, and the same goes for the night, so you have to time when the card flips over and so on. Also, the clever way the ingredients are tracked with this sliding mechanic is quite interesting. I tried this game with 2 and 4 players and has that great gateway feel, similar to the other games Tanax has designed. Also, Tanax has designed a solo demo of this game that you can try and play against the computer. Tanax is an indie designer and some of his games have a limited print run, and some are hand-assembled with some printed components and some hand-created components. Since this game appears to only have a limited run of likely somewhere around 100 copies, I recommend you check out the game on his campaign. Hopefully you've enjoyed taking a look at Auctions of Alchemists with me. This new game by Tanax will be launching on Kickstarter, all the way from Japan. I've put the link in the YouTube description. Thank you so much for your wonderful support as always. Please like, share or comment in my channel if you like the content. Thank you for watching. Until next time, happy gaming!